Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that I'm very much interested in. I don't know a great deal about, but I'm hoping that to learn more about it. And I will hopefully use my YouTube channel to show my learning and to share my learning, and hopefully that in turn will develop my knowledge of this subject. It ties in very much with other things that I'm interested in, and that is what is the term that is used, Art Deco. Now, I know this is a term that has been used a lot. It covers a broad range of, I suppose, areas in society and culture. But I really like the styling and the design, and it very much ties in with a period in history that I'm very much interested in. Art Deco is short for Arts Décoratifs. It's a French, comes from the French. And I guess it first came forward as a design feature in 1910 in Paris. And then in 1925, there was a big exhibition of arts and design in Paris. And there it was really kind of seen in almost anything. Art Deco is a term that's used to describe all manner of things: buildings, cars, fashion, everyday objects within the home, any kind of styling and design, roughly from sort of the First World War, mid 1910s, but predominantly through the 1920s and into the 1930s. I think that's the period where it really comes to the fore, and what people would associate with it. Why does this interest me? I just like the styling and the design. There's something about it. It's a period in history that really interests me. It's a period in history where a lot of things that interest me were going on. For example, the Egyptian revival, Tutankhamun's discovery. Agatha Christie was writing a lot during the 1920s and 30s, although she wrote quite prolifically before and after that. A couple of her books, if you want, that are set in that period are Evil Under the Sun and also Death on the Nile. And if you look at the film and TV adaptations, you can definitely see the Art Deco influence, certainly in the way at the period of the time, the way people are dressed, the cars they're driving, etc. So I want to learn more about it. I have an understanding of it, but my thoughts are to learn more and have a greater understanding of it. Now, I don't have a book on the Art Deco movement at the moment. That's something that I wanted to, I guess, find. And if anybody's got any good recommendations, please let me know. I've also got this bottle of perfume. It's one of my favourite perfumes. This is Mugler Alien perfume. But what I like about it is slightly Art Deco in design. Very clean lines, very streamlined lines. If you look at some of the skyscraper buildings and some of the cars of the period, that's very much what it focuses on. Fashion, I guess, certainly through the 1920s into the 30s, was quite streamlined in the way that, particularly for women, the way that it was designed, clean cut, streamlined, not particularly fussy, I think is probably how I would describe it. I will talk a bit more about fashion on another occasion. It's still here today. You can see there are many, many buildings, certainly in the UK, that were built during this period. But I think most of them now probably that still exist have got some sort of preservation order on them. You'd certainly find them elsewhere in the world. A lot of the skyscrapers that were built certainly during that period will have Art Deco themes and designs. So I hope I can bring you more about this. I think as well, during this period of time, there was an ancient Egypt kind of revival with interest in ancient Egypt, and that also got reflected in jewellery and design, clothing, etc. of the time. So it sort of ties in my two sort of subjects that I'm very interested in. So that's what I hope. It's sort of an Egyptian revival, I think would be fair to say. And there's been several over the years. In the Victorian era, people became interested in ancient Egypt again. Then we had sort of during the 1920s, 1930s, clearly sparked by this gentleman here. And I think again in the 70s there was a bit of a revival. His mask and various other artifacts did a sort of a world tour, which again sparked another interest. And you'll find that this then influences all manner of things, certainly fashion, styling, jewellery, homeware, things like that will get influenced by a period in history. You've seen it otherwise as well. There's periods in history which influence those areas of our lives. So the Egyptian revival and the Egyptian influence seems to be a recurring theme, certainly through culture and society, and design. So it's something that I think is worth exploring and looking further at in greater detail. As I say, this is a modern perfume, but that very much it has a little bit of an Art Deco theme going through it. I'm going to be looking for more sort of pieces that represent Art Deco, hopefully over time. See if I can find maybe some older perfume bottles, maybe some antique perfume bottles that represent that period or have those design features. But certainly you may well see it in buildings where you live. There's a number of buildings within London, but they were all over the place. They're very quite often quite similar. Certainly in America, a lot of the skyscrapers that you see in New York were built in that period, which you may well have seen in TV shows and films. It's easy enough to research. And some of the cars, this very sort of streamline approach, which at one point it did sort of start being called as streamline. I think this is more during sort of, I suppose, when people had less money. I'm thinking of like the period of time in the Great Depression. So I think a lot of design at that time and styling became a lot more sombre and played down, but it kind of moved into sort of a streamlined design features. So I'm hoping that is of interest to people. If anyone has a really good book recommendation on the Art Deco period, please leave a comment and let me know, because I would like to explore that and learn more. I've also got here a piece of lapis lazuli. This is a crystal, and the lapis features very predominantly, very heavily in a lot of ancient Egyptian jewellery. It's certainly present on Tutankhamun's mask. It's that bright, vivid blue. This is found in ancient Egypt, I say predominantly the jewellery, but you will also see it, the blue shade, very much feature in their painting and their artwork. And I brought this along because I wanted to represent something that would represent ancient Egypt. I will look for more items to use maybe in my videos to represent various aspects of ancient Egypt. But yes, I wanted to bring a little bit of nature, a little bit of what ancient Egyptians would recognise. You know, those particularly that were making jewellery and doing art would recognise this stone and would have used it. So there we go. That's the lapis lazuli. I wanted to bring that along as well. So I don't know if anybody found this interesting. It's, as I say, I need to explore more. I need to read up a little bit more on the period. And but certainly, if you have a look at these two books, I think, and Then They Were None, that other story that can't find the book for that at the moment. That's also set in the period. So 1920s into the 1930s. These two definitely are. So when you're reading books that are set in that period, you may well get a bit of a flavour and a bit of an understanding of the time and the design. Agatha Christie does talk about how people look, how people are dressed, and design. Not in any huge detail, but there'll be other authors out there that have written of the time that would go into more detail, more depth about the styling and design of the period. So I hope that is helpful for anybody. I hope, as I say, if you share the same interest, please let me know. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you found this interesting, even slightly. And I shall be back next week with another video. And until then, enjoy your reading, enjoy your interests, and learn more. Thank you.